New Earth AC was formed by divine guidance to help lift up humanity and raise the vibration of all. New Earth is a community that started as a Facebook group and has grown to become an online interactive platform for those seeking to uplift, empower, and co-create with one another. On top of uplifting and inspiring posts, we began to connect with our members on a more deeper level. We now regularly host what we call Unity Circles and live stream them on our YouTube channel. Each circle is hosted by a member who wishes to share their knowledge and gifts out to the world in hopes that they can make a difference in the lives of others. You can find these circles inside the New Earth AC Divine Ray store and on our YouTube channel. Please take whatever resonates and let the rest fall away.
Hello,
We're live.
We're live. Hey guys, can you hear my brother-in-law upstairs tenderizing his meat? As soon as we go live, I'm hearing.
I hope you're talking about he's preparing a meal. I'm just kidding.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
It was too easy.
No, I can't hear it. You're all right.
Oh my God, he's like, as soon as we hit the live button, he starts bamming on the meat.
We all live in our homes. That's how it is. My mom will be banging on the door next.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what you can hear. I've had people like, "Can you hear the lawnmower going on at my neighbors?" And I'm like, not at all.
So we're here. We're going to talk about the Andaras today. Today is the Andara topic, and we're all kind of excited to talk about these things because we all four of us have we've gotten our Andaras of our own, and we just wanted to share a little bit about what an Andara is because we're going to be using them on the winter solstice. We're doing a special event, and we're all going to use our Andaras to connect into the city of light called Agartha, the inner earth city of light. So we thought it would be fun to come on and really just explain this and what is an Andara. So does anybody want to start about how they came across Andaras? Or
I think I first heard of them through you, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And then when I researched them, there was that lady, I can't remember what her name is, out in Mount Shasta who discovered them.
Lady Nellie.
Right. But I'm sure you have a lot more info.
Yes, I found mine. I mean, I didn't know anything about them until Robin told me about her going with Jessie and doing this project that they did, and one that she did by herself and stuff. And then when I was at Mount Shasta this year in June, I came across some that came from the Lady Nellie's place. So we kind of all acquired them. They just kind of found their way to us, which is what they do. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. When back in 2018, when I had my QHHT session, and it was my big, huge session, and I was told by my higher self when I was asking different questions and things about my life mission and my purpose and all that, and I was told that in the future, I would be working with a group of people and all across the globe, and we would be working on a project with crystals, and that what we did with them was going to be amazing. And so I didn't really understand it at the time. And then a few years later, I get this telephone call from Rick Talley telling me that he was giving Andaras to different people across the world to kind of place them into different different parts of the grid. And I had never heard of an Andara, and he explained it to me and what it was. And then sent me these 2 Andaras, and this is one of them that he sent. It was they were a set of twins, and he sent me another one, and one of them I was to place in a special place, in Ireland, and then the other one I was to keep always for myself. And that's really all I kind of like knew about these things. And then like right after, I think, was it before or after? It was before, it was in 2019, at the beginning of 2019 in February. I knew that I was doing this with the Andaras, right? Like I had already, he was sending me the Andara, hadn't gone and done it yet. And I had another session with another person. It was called QSHE. It was the same thing as QHHT, except for it was different because you could do it like on the internet, and this lady was doing it remotely. And it came up again, and it was talking, they were telling me that I wanted to know if something with these Andaras was part of what they were talking about, was what we were going to do. And they said yes. And they said that this was only the beginning, that we were going to be placing the Andaras into different places and gridding like the earth, like in waterways, and we would be gridding on the earth and the lands. And then we would be getting them places where they could be connecting. And then we would all be doing something even more interesting as it went forward with the Andaras that we have in our hands, like the ones that we would be doing like some kind of special work. But I don't really know what that is. Like, but it seems like everybody is kind of falling into place, and we're kind of like meeting other people that also have Andaras, and we're all kind of like connected. So what I know about Andaras is that they're very connectors. They are connectors, and they connect to each other, and they also connect to other dimensions at once. Like, so they're multidimensional, and I heard from Rick, or what it was, he was telling me that they can be in like 7 to 11 dimensions at once. So when you place an Andara into the grid lines, it's not just connecting in the dimension that you're in. It's connecting in all the dimensions that are like kind of like multiple dimensions, like in the same place. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense to me for sure. I have a big one in the dining room. I was gonna bring it with me today, but I forgot it, of course. But weird stuff happens in that room. And I used to have my bedroom, and I had to move it because I wasn't sleeping, like not a wink. And then it dawned on me one day. I'm like, I wonder if that has anything to do with it. And maybe it did, or maybe it didn't. But I moved it, and the activity moved to the dining room. So I don't know. Yeah.
They can be very chatty.
I leave mine on my desk in the office. I leave it on the desk, so I don't put it by my bed because I bet it would be pretty active if we did that.
Oh yeah, I got mine right by my bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say David, he's gonna be going to other dimensions while he's sleeping.
When I first connected with the Andara, I was talking to it and everything, so I started asking what it's doing, because I started feeling differences in my energy shield. And it said it was making repair. It was doing repair work on all of my dimensions of energy shields. So, like our energetic bodies, and I guess some of them are shields. And I thought that I could see it happening. It was very interesting. Very interesting. Mm-hmm. I like them.
When I first started working with the Andara personally with myself, what I would do is I had 2 of them. So I had this one and the one that I put into the well. And I would take them into meditation, and I did a lot of in the steam room and the sauna or whatever. And I'd be laying on the bed of the thing. And I would put this one around my heart chakra. And then I would put the other one up on my third eye, and I'd be just kind of laying there. And all of a sudden I started they started showing me things where I was like I could feel like I was getting information, and they were telling me that they were teaching me how to spin my Merkaba so that I could astral travel while I was awake, because I was astral traveling like crazy when I was sleeping, but I wasn't doing it consciously. And they were showing me that I would do that. And so I was given instructions while I was like in meditation that at some point when I was able to do this, when I was able to use my Merkaba to travel while I was fully conscious and awake, that then it would be time for the other one to go into the well in Tara. And so they worked with me for a while, and it wasn't time. And I think I got them in like March or April of that year, and I didn't go and actually place the I call it, so this one is Nada and the other one's called Lady, and I didn't go and place Lady into the well until like July, because I wasn't ready. Like it wasn't, they said, they kept telling me I wasn't ready yet, and then all of a sudden when it was time to go do it, it just kind of all fell into place, like, and they were giving me instructions, and they're telling me that I needed to go into this well that hadn't been flowing water for like a lot of years. I don't know how many years, but for a very long time, it hadn't been flowing, and that it was up on the hill of Tara, and which is the second chamber of the heart chakra of the earth. And I actually live in Ireland, so I'd be able to get to Tara, and they kind of like told me it needed to go into this well, and they kept calling it the St. Francis well. Like, I don't even know what the St. Francis well is, and we were looking it up. I was at my friend's house, and I was like, I keep hearing like St. Francis well, and there wasn't anything that said St. Francis well. There were 6 wells up in Tara, but there wasn't anything that said St. Francis. And so then we were like, well, maybe we could like call some kind of like local person there and find out if they know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that might know where this is. And so we were looking for kind of like accommodation, and we saw this thing. It was called Tara Lodge, and we saw it was like a place where they had, like the yurts and stuff where you could stay in the yurt, or like little kind of cabins and stuff. And we thought, well, that would be fun. We could do like a 2-day trip, and we can go and stay over there. So we said, we'll call this guy that owns the place, and we'll ask him how much does it cost, is it open, and everything. And then we'll nonchalantly try to figure out if this guy kind of knows anything about the area. And we rang the fella, and he answered, and he said, I'm actually closed. I've been closed down for 1.5 years, and I don't think I'll be opening anytime soon. And we were like, oh, okay. Do you know of any other place where we could stay? And by the time the conversation was over with, he kind of was like, what are you coming up here for? And we were just kind of like, oh, we're placing a crystal into a well somewhere. And we were just like led to do that. And then before we knew it, the guy opened up, and he had all this information. And he's like, I'm going to have to let you come stay in my cabin. And even though I'm not renting it out to anybody anymore, and you're going to have to come, and I'll take you around the land, and we'll figure out where this well is. And so he did like all this investigation before we showed up. And he kind of knew where the well was, but he wanted me to kind of like choose the well. And like, so when we got there the first day, he walked us, and it took us 5 hours to walk around the hill of Tara to all the different wells. And he walked us all around and took us to all the wells that he had investigated. And the well that I actually said felt like the right well, it was really funny because that was the well that he thought it was going to be. And then there was this shaman lady, Geraldine, that she also felt that it was going to be that well. And it hadn't been, it was very dry. There was no water, and it was like there was 2 wells that were kind of dry, and out of the ones. And so then on the bottom of the tree, there was an ash tree that was kind of like right next to the well. And there was a carving, and it had a T. It looked like a big, huge capital T. And then underneath it had like somebody had carved in this like a sun, like it looked like the sun. And it was this carving, and it had the T in the sun. And I said, we were walking back, And I said to the shaman lady, I said, is that well called the St. Francis well? And she says, no, but that well has St. Francis all over it. And I said, what do you mean? And she says, didn't you see that carving? The symbol, the T, something about the symbol of that T and the thing had something to do with St. Francis. And
Cool.
I was like, oh, okay. So that was kind of like a sign. And so the well isn't actually called the St. Francis well, but she said like it has the energy of St. Francis there. And so it was really cool. And so we went back to the well the next day and we kind of cleaned up the area. We took like the streamers, and because it was very like, it needed cleaning. And we were kind of opening up the well and everything, and we actually found somebody had actually closed the well by they put cement into it, so there wasn't actually, like, the well wasn't flowing. It hadn't been flowing for a very long time. And when we put the Andara into the well, like, we didn't know what was going to happen. We did a ceremony and everything, and when I placed the Andara into the well that was dry, there was like a little hole we made, and I put it in, and there was like little rose petals and stuff we put into it. And then I went to go put this into it, and all of a sudden, before I even like got it out of my hands, it just started floating up, and there was water inside the hole that we had dug that was dry a second ago. It was like, whoa, like, this is actually working. Like, I did not know what was going to happen. Wow. I remember my friend saying to me, Tony said to me right before we did it, she goes, I wonder what's going to happen. She's like, I wonder if the water's going to start flowing like in like a week from now, or like a month from now, or something like that. And I said, I don't know. We have no idea. And it happened like instantly. Wow. And then within like 3 days, the whole well was full. And there's a picture, I'll be showing you guys a video. There's a picture that has like roses kind of inside the well. It's hard to see, but they're kind of floating around in the water because we had put roses on top of it afterwards. And they were floating around in the water. And then a week and a half later, the guy that lived there, his name, he actually, we called him the keeper, and he went down and he actually took photos of it, and it was actually flowing down, and it was flowing out, and it was going down to a stream, which I was told that it would flow out of this well, and it would flow down a stream, and it would go into the waterways, and it would be bringing in crystalline, high vibrational water. And the fact that we were using the Andara was bringing in the other dimensions into the water.
Very cool.
And then eventually, and they said that I wasn't the only one doing it, that other people were doing it in other places. And so as we placed these Andaras around the world, they brought in the higher dimensions into the water.
That's cool.
Awesome.
I remember when you were doing that. I remember when you were like doing that. Like Star's like around, I think probably around the same time as you.
Will I show the video, and then will I tell about what happened, then how Jessie got involved? Will we show the video with Tara and then show what happened
go ahead.
afterwards?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Back in July of 2019, I was sent on a mission called the Andara Project. The intention was to place an Andara into a well in a place called Tara Hill. I didn't know what would happen at the time myself. When 4 of my dear friends helped place this Andara into the well,
on the tree, guys,
but was told to trust, to follow my guidance, and that soon the Andara would go into the grid and bring forward pure crystalline water that would eventually connect and flow throughout all the waterways of our world and bring us into the diamond consciousness as a collective. As soon as I placed the Andara into the dry well, water began to flow. And afterwards, I created a depiction of the site from another dimension. one where the trees and elementals became animated. The dwarf sitting over the well is Oliver from the Tuatha De Danann. He is the keeper and is keeping watch to make sure the site is always protected from unwanted visitors. The hawthorn tree located to the left of the well houses the many fairies who live at the well. And the tall ash tree and his branches cover the well all throughout the year. The stream coming out of the well is what happened after I left the site, and it is flowing into a river now that is connected to other waterways. I wanted to bring forward the magic, the energy I felt that day when I visited this well, and to have it with me as a reminder that magic is always in the air.
That's cool.
My little
That art piece is amazing.
I love that art. I couldn't wait till she got it painted.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I made that piece. Like, I knew, like, when I told the story afterwards to Barb Morey, she had a vision. Like, there's this lady, her name is Barb Morey. She lives in Michigan as well. And when I told her what happened, she told me she all of a sudden had a vision that I was going to create some kind of piece of artwork that was going to be a depiction of it. And she couldn't wait to see it. And that actually happened, but it didn't happen until like 2020 when I was like, just kind of sitting there and I had extra time to do it. And then I just it sat around for a while, and then I finally just kind of got it painted only just recently. So
it looks great.
Yeah.
It's my little prezi for myself.
Do you think there's Andaras in Inner Earth?
Of course there is.
I think so too.
And then after I got done with that was in July, and then in August I knew I was going back to New York, and I had to go back to see my parents because I knew my dad wasn't doing well, and I thought, you know what, it's time to go back and see your mom and dad. And I was sitting in the sauna, and I had because this is Nada. The reason why they were called Lady and Nada was because Tara Hill, there is the Ascended Master Lady Nada. She resides there, and so that's why I called the Andaras Lady and Nada. But so Nada told me that so I had Nada with me in the sauna, and I just kind of started questioning. I was like, so is there something that you want me to do when I go to New York? And I immediately got, you didn't think you were just going to go back just to visit your parents, did you? And I was like, okay, does it involve an Andara? And they were like, yes. And then all of a sudden I was given a vision of this place in New York where I grew up. It was a place up in Fillmore Glen. And it was a place where we used to camp, and I used to go hiking, and I used to play there. And I was shown this spot that they wanted me to go to and place another one into this little waterfall area. It was a tiny waterfall, but I knew like where it was because they were giving me a vision of it, and I remembered the place. And so I was like, do we need to have an Andara for this? And yes, we did. So then I needed to contact Rick Talley because he was the one that he was able to get the Andaras from the Mickey Magic from the Lady Nellie's land. And he was kind of giving me these Andaras like put into different places. And so I was getting ready to do a show with Shanine Mooland, telling my story about, like my art and all that. And my show was like getting canceled. Like it got canceled like 3 times. And so when I was getting ready to do the show, it was right after I found out I was going to New York. And Jessie was her admin, and I was like, maybe Jessie will know if this is going to get canceled or not. And I saw Jessie, she had her little green light on in the messenger, and so I was like, I'm going to take a chance, and I'm just going to ask this girl if my show is going to go forward. And then we got to talking in the messenger, and the next thing you know, myself, Jessie, and Ricatelli are on like a little call together, and Jessie's like, I'm coming. And so you were part of the Andara project the second time around.
Well, there was a whole bunch of interesting stuff there too, because it turns out we both grew up in New York. We were both like ceramics concentration fine arts people, and we just really connected on a level. And so that was the beginning of our friendship. And by chance, I remember I was just about to pull out of my driveway. I was like in the car, and the car was in reverse, and I was about to reverse, and my phone goes ba-ding. And then so I put the car into park, and I checked the message, and then like I don't think I went where I was I don't think I went where I was gonna go. I like talked to you instead. It was weird. So yeah, it was by chance, but certainly not, of course, as it goes.
Yeah.
So and then I remember I drove like a lot. Remember, I drove like
was it like
12
it was
hours
a 4 or 5 hours
or something.
How long did it take you to get there? I think it was you left at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I think you landed around 11 when we were actually
I got there at like 9:30. I remember.
Was it 9:30?
I parked at a diner and ate.
Yeah, we had breakfast.
I had my teddy bear buckled into the front seat of the car too. It was funny. I remember.
And then we all had our crystals. We all had our crystals. Jessie brought these like
a bunch of little organite bits as gifts for whoever.
Remember the massive wands, selenite wands. She brought these selenite wands. They were like massive. We were like clearing each other and everything like that. That was when I got my Lemurian. Amy gave me the Lemurian that day, and we went up to it was so cool. Then Jessie had a whole you had a whole little sack full of your orgone pieces. And as we went up, there was like all these like little you could tell they were like little fairy houses and stuff. And as we went through it, her and Misty, they and Amy and you guys were all like going off to the sides, and we were they were getting some video footage of Jessie actually like putting these little orgone pieces into the little houses all the way up. You were giving gifts all the way.
Yeah, it was really crazy. It was weird because as we continued to walk, like I could see the landscape like shifting, and the air was I don't even really know. I've never really tried to explain it before, but we were in a whole bunch of different places at once. It was weird. And then when we finally emerged from the forest, remember it was something like 6 hours later, and we were all like, what the heck?
I actually thought I was going to get stuck there, Jessie. Remember, because where we went down to actually put the Andara, when we went down into this area, it had this like really like steep kind of hill thing, and it was kind of hidden, and it was really kind of muddy. I mean, we were really getting dirty, and when we got down there okay, but then I was like, how am I going to get back up there? I couldn't get it. I actually thought I was going to have to stay there. I was like, you guys can go ahead. I'm going to just stay here.
Did somebody pull you out?
They did. We had this staff that we were using.
Oh, that's cool.
And they all pulled me. They put the staff down, and then all 4 of them started pulling me up while I was holding onto the staff.
Right?
I could see about catapulting poor Robin.
I was just, but see, I was afraid, because I had broken my arm so badly before, in 2015, and I did not want to fall and break myself in New York because, I didn't even have any travel insurance. I was like, if I get broken, what am I gonna do? I can't go to the emergency room, and all this kind of stuff.
And what was weird? That was the very first time I had been hiking again since I had broken my foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were very close. Your foot was, and you were kind of still swollen.
I had broken my foot like that. No, maybe even that same year or something.
Yeah, it was
So
because like that
I was
you.
nervous too, but I was pulling on that stick.
Yeah, they pulled me out of there, but it was really cool. And we actually we put like a little we made like a little altar. We did the same thing in I did the same thing in Tara. We had a little altar. The shamanic lady that was there with me that we happened to just run into while we were there, like it wasn't planned. She was there.
Guy, or how does she come into the picture?
Well, the guy that we were staying with at the lodge, his name was Niall, and he actually passed away in November after that happened. He passed away in his sleep, but he was friends with this girl, and he had told her that there was this lady coming up that had these Andaras, and she had been curious about Andaras, and she really like wanted to know what they looked like and what they felt like and everything. Right. And so she was kind of there for the day, like she didn't live there, but she was there visiting. And she asked him, would it be okay if I met your friend and had a chance to look at the Andara? So when I got there, he said, I have a friend that's here, and I don't want to overstep like boundaries or anything like that. He said, but she would really just like to see what an Andara looks like. Is it okay if you meet her? And I'm like, yeah, bring her over. And she comes over, and she was like, oh, this is so cool. We were having a good time. We were talking, and I was just coming out of like, there was like this portal with these like 3 big, huge trees. And my two friends, Michelle and Tonia, we were doing this tree hugging thing. And then before I knew it, I was standing in the middle of this portal, and the elders, the ancient ones, were like telling me, it was so amazing. They were telling me, we're so happy you're here. You were meant to come before and you didn't show up, I think in another lifetime or something. And they kept saying, we are so happy you're here. You've been here before. You've been here before. You've been here before. They kept saying over and over. I was in tears because like I could like feel this. I've never felt energy like that before. And I never felt like a portal, and I could feel I was in a portal. I had my friend, I said, give me the camera. And she gives me the camera, and I'm laying down on the ground, and I'm taking pictures up into the sky, like trying to take pictures of this portal that I'm seeing. Right. And afterwards, when we were at the house, we went to go look at the pictures, and the pictures were black, like you couldn't see anything, like the part where the portal was. But Geraldine had showed up like right after that, and so we were all talking about all that and everything. And then we were just getting ready. Niall was taking us to do the walk that evening, to do the walk around all the wells. And so I invited the Geraldine lady to go for a walk with us if she wasn't doing anything. And she's like, yeah, sure. And before you knew it, before we were done with the walk, she had committed to doing it to doing the ceremony with us and going down. And she was she ended up spending the night at the cabin, and we stayed up next to the fire for till 1 o'clock in the morning, and she was telling stories, and it was really cool. And the whole energy was just like so cool. And she sat with the Andaras, and before we went down to the well. And all of a sudden she got a pen out and she started drawing all over her hands. And she was drawing all kinds of like codes all over her hands. And then when we got down to the well, she was going to be helping with the orb thing. Remember, Jessie, how we had to do there was this part of the ceremony was to create a chi ball, right? for the Andara or whatever. And so she was being instructed to draw all these codes on her hands. And then when we were done with the well, she started drawing codes on my hands, and we were using them. And when I was actually using the chi ball, mine actually, when you saw pictures of it on my hand, there was like a gear that she drew like all the way around. And she said the night before, and in her dream, she saw me like putting gears together and working with all these like gears and stuff. And then when I went to go do the chi ball, all I could feel was like I was hooking it together. It felt like gears kind of like hooking together before I actually placed the Andara into the well.
Cool.
It was really cool. So, and then Geraldine helped us remotely when we went to Fillmore Glen. Geraldine helped set up the protections and all that kind of stuff. She did that all remotely when we were there.
That's cool.
So it was
the only
really
time
cool.
I experienced portals and stuff like that is when I was on Mount Shasta, and we had a guide that took us to all these different portals between. Whenever there's 3 trees in a triangle, there's usually a portal in between, and they were taking us to each site where there was huge portals, and it was just.
And did they seem to be like massive old trees? Because these 3 trees that I was at were like massive old trees. And this Nile guy, he was meeting us there, and he told me, go over by the church and just go over to those trees. And he didn't tell me like anything about it. He just said, go over to them trees, and then when I get there, you can tell me about it. And it was like, how did he know?
So yeah, the biggest portal that we were at the longest, was right above the City of Lights, and it was just massive trees. It was a huge circle, and it was massive trees all the way around. And the whole time we were in that, it was like spirit just immediately started talking, and weird stuff started happening in the wind, just like what Jessie was mentioning. It was just a different atmosphere. And it's
yep, you can really feel it.
Yeah,
you can feel it. Like,
and see the shifting, but it's so hard to really explain because there weren't like, I don't know, it was just maybe.
Well, you know what was really weird? Okay, so when I got to Tara, me and my 2 friends, before we met Niall and the other lady, we decided, let's sit down and let's find a place. It was a really nice sunny day. Let's sit down and let's just get a feel. And I had some cards, and I said, we'll pull some cards and we'll put the Andaras down, and we just get some direction, because I know it needs to go into a well that's dry, but we don't know where to go. So we were just kind of like looking for directions, and we kind of did like, I don't know, like a meditation, or I don't know what you would want to call it. And my friend saw the dragons coming in. I saw the dragon. There was a dragons circling the whole area. And then we didn't realize it, but we were looking for a shady spot to sit. And we sat down underneath a series of hawthorn trees that were on like a mound thing that actually was a fairy fort. We didn't realize it. Wow. And so we were like actually sitting on a fairy fort. And all of a sudden, I just got like all the elementals came in, and they were like greeting us. And the elementals were saying that we were, like I channeled while we were sitting there. And the elementals granted us permission to be on the land, to do they knew what we were coming to do. And they granted us permission. And then the dragons came in, and the dragon was like huge. I could see him flying all the way around, and we're told that we were going to be totally protected the whole time that we were there and everything. It was just so cool. And then when that Oliver guy that you guys saw, Oliver that you guys saw, right before we went out to the thing, I drew a card out of the fairy deck. I don't even know. Oh, here he is. I drew this card out of my fairy deck. And I was told this is the keeper, right? Wow. And this is the guy, right? And then I was told that this guy down here was the keeper in human world. And he just so happens to look like the Nile guy, like when he was a little boy. And Nile was like, oh my God, that's me. But I never really picked up on it until afterwards. But if you see this card, it says the leaving.
Oh.
Goodness. And see the guy that's like the keeper, and if you look at this, it's like at the well there, see how he's like going over the stone? Well, there was a whole mound of stones all up over the top of the well, and right where the little boy's standing is like where the well was. But then Niall left us.
You
Niall
know,
was supposed
Well,
to
I
take
think
care of
he's
the place.
probably still there. Just
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure he's still there, but he left us that only like 3 months later. We didn't
So,
even know.
so I'm hearing that we should connect our Andaras right now to Tara, where by the well where you have, and channel in. There's a lot of love energies coming from there right now.
Yeah.
do you think
Sounds
if we
good.
connect ours to Tara, that it would also connect to Fillmore Glen? Does it connect everywhere?
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
they're all connected to each other, and that's what I'm saying. And I also was putting one afterwards when we came back from Fillmore Glen. I was told to put one in the waterway at Torque Waterfall, and that was another area where there was a lot of fairies. But the fairies, this is before we start doing that, David. The fairies that I saw, these guys, the Tuatha De Danann fellas, right? They also they came with me when I was in the train going to New York, because I had to take a train for 4 hours up to Dublin and then go onto the plane to go over to the States, and I get motion sickness. And that train was just a rocking, like going, and it was going really fast. It was just like rocking, and I couldn't keep my eyes open, or else I was going to get sick. And so I was just like this, how like they have these little tables at the train. So I'm just sitting there like this, all the way up to Dublin, right? And as I'm getting up closer to Dublin, all of a sudden I felt like all of those, because Tara is near Dublin, right? Like, and all of a sudden, right when I was getting up near Dublin, all of a sudden I got this overwhelming feeling that all of those fairies and all the elementals that were with me in at Tara, they all of a sudden just kind of came into my into my field. And I remember I spent the night at my friend's house up in Dublin, and I hate the city. I don't like being in cities. I'm an empath. I feel the energies and I can't stand it. And I kept saying to her, "This isn't even bad. It's fine here in Dublin. I kept telling her, I'm not feeling all the energies, and this is so cool, and I'm just feeling so good." And then all the way on the plane, I was all feeling good and everything. Those elementals that were with me,
Newark. I'm just kidding.
they flew until I got to Newark. Yeah, that wasn't the best experience.
Just teasing.
Yeah, so they came with me, and when we were walking up, I was like, they came from Ireland, because we were opening up a portal for the elementals in New York in Fillmore Glen. And when we were walking up that day, Jessie, I was like, oh my God, oh my goodness, they came along. Like, oh, they're here. They got, I don't know if they attached to me or what, but they came with me. And then they wanted to like meet their friends when we opened up the portal.
We opened a portal for them to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
That's amazing.
They can go on New Year's Eve to the Big Apple.
You are?
Yeah.
Right?
No, this wasn't anywhere. Actually, Jessie, you live closer to the Big Apple than where.
Well, that's why I was joking.
Oh, I thought it was in New York. You guys went.
Yeah, but it's New York State, Jessie.
I live about a half
hour.
From,
yeah.
I didn't know that was
that's amazing.
Where Syracuse is? Do you know where Syracuse is, David?
No.
Okay. Well, this is kind of like up more towards Canada than it is like actually down near New York City.
Is Finger Lakes?
Yeah.
Up around there, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I find amazing?
Open up a portal in New York City. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, and the reason why they wanted to open, I asked, because like I don't just go opening up portals just for like anybody to like. That's not what you do. And so I was asking, what is the purpose and what is the reason why we're going there and everything? And the reason was the elementals, they had a portal there before, and they needed to do some grid work, but they needed to come in a stealthy area. So this spot was very remote, wasn't it, Jessie? It was like nobody, yep. even it was a state park, but it was the place where we went in there. It wasn't a place.
Sounds like you almost almost get stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very stuffy, like where this was, and they said they wanted it that way, especially like in the wintertime, because like even the paths and areas around it get closed. And so the reason why we were doing it there was so that they could go in and out without being hindered with like all popular. It was a very remote place. It wasn't,
and we weren't even like underneath this like rock formation. There was the river, the rock overhang, and I don't know how we all got in it, under it.
and then when we were pulling the cards, and you pulled, Jessie pulls this card out of her deck, like where we're getting the altar going, and was it the Stone People? Do you have a card on one of your decks called the Stone People?
Yeah, it's my Earth Magic deck.
Yeah, well, Jessie, she puts this stone one right there. As soon as she pulls this card and puts it down, all of the shell starts falling all over my back. I was like, the Stone People are here, and they want us to know. It was so
there was
cool.
Wacky stuff that went on for
sure. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And the Stone People were
really
there. So maybe if we connect, we like to connect to where these Andaras were placed. So they were placed in Tara, and they were placed in Fillmore Glen, and it was placed in Torque that I know of. The three that I actually placed. And then just so you know, David, the two that you have, because I sent them to David because I knew he needed them, because he kept asking me about Andaras, and I
dreamt about that I had to search for one, like, and
nobody
was talking about it, and it's like, you're gonna find an Andara, you're gonna find it, you're gonna search for it, you gotta find it now. So,
yeah, and then all of us, and David's like, and he asked me, like, I didn't even pick up on it until like the third time you asked me about Andaras. And then I was like, and then I looked over and I was like, I have two here. And then I was like, I could feel them. Well, it's because there's
fake ones, right? And there's a lot of fake ones on the internet. So like, it's hard to know where to get them. Didn't you know where to get them?
Yeah. So I had them because Rick Talley had given me a whole bunch of them to take back to Ireland. And he says, do with them whatever you need to do with them. And so I had these like two brown ones that were left, and they didn't seem to have a home, and they didn't seem to be giving me any direction. And then David asked me like 3 times. And like when the third time he asked me, all of a sudden I was sitting here in my office, and then I just started hearing them, because they talk to you, right? And I hear, we want to go to David. I'm like,
it sounded just like that.
No, but it was like, they were like, we want to go to David. We need to go to David. David needs us. And I was like, both of you or one of you? And they're like, we want to go to David. And I'm like, okay. So we'll send you off to David and see what happens. So those 2 brown stones that you had were with us in Fillmore Glen. We had them on the altar that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
I got to go to Nova Scotia, so I got to make like a whole trip out of it. Probably be.
Is that what they're telling you?
Halifax, Nova Scotia. I guess there's some kind of port there or something. I got to go.
That's awesome.
Are you being directed to put them in? I'm curious because it's the brown one that you've got. So are you being shown water, or are you being shown earth?
No, it's water.
Okay.
I'm seeing it's like a tour or something, like a tour on a boat I go on or something, and I bless it and put it into the water, connect it.
I came home with a brown one, that really crazy one that looks like it actually looks like those angel aura quartz. You know how they're coated with titanium or whatever it is that makes them all rainbowy. Mm-hmm. My Andara actually looks like that, but it's not. But I came home with a brown one and another one that has a lot of bubbles in it, and it like
actually. Does yours look like this one?
Yeah, like a couple.
This
like
was
that.
Another one that came from there.
I put one.
See, mine was like that.
I buried one under.
You got that at Shasta?
And then the other one I gave to my friend who lives by the ocean here in New Jersey, a few hours south. It's like way different in South New Jersey from north. So she got a water one, and then another one went into the earth. And it's weird because they sat, and then all of a sudden they just know where they're gonna go. I don't know, and it is. And
then I got this one when I was in New York. This is Starlight, and before I went, I was told by this fella Nada said that there's a blue one that you need, and when you find and come across the blue one, you will be able to. It's gonna take me farther, and I'm gonna get more information about like what to do going forward. I don't even know what it was supposed to do.
So
and
where can people buy like legitimate Andaras that you know? I remember you knew a contact, like because people have asked that before, and you remember the person's name you give them?
A man named Mickey is now the caretaker of Lady Nellie's land.
Yeah, Mickey Magic.
You can find him on Facebook. He'll
Mickey Magic.
Mickey Magic. He's up in Northern California. I'll read a thing out about it.
But like if you contact him, he will at least respond, as far as I know.
Well, he might respond. He's very
this was a couple years ago, but
yeah, he's no. He is. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so if you look up online and you go to Andaras from MickeyMagic.com, I'm just gonna.
You can find it on Facebook too, though.
I'm gonna click on the link right here, and I'm gonna put it into the messages. So this is where you can find the Andaras.
Yeah, and you'll know at least it's like legitimate because there is like a fake supply going out, and people are charging crazy prices for fake Andaras.
Mickey Magic is new Lady Nellie and is on that actual land and is the caretaker of that actual land now. So that is a.
Do you think like he walks like his dog and he's like, and he looks down and he picks up like 5 Andaras and is like, woohoo, woohoo? Because you know he's gonna sell them.
Well, no, do you guys want to hear the story? Do you want me to read out the story about how they came about on Lady Nellie's land?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want me to? Okay, so it says the Andara healing crystals were first found in the United States in February of 1967 by Lady Nellie, a 90-year-old Choctaw medicine woman. But only, let's see, my glasses aren't working well. But only was discovered about a decade later. A psychic healer by the name of Allie Keith came to Nellie for some healing remedies. Allie spotted the one Andara crystal that Nellie had got very excited. She told Nellie that this was one of the crystals that she had been having visions about. She then asked to see the rest of them, especially the green ones. Nellie told Allie that she had only found the one crystal on her land. In the mother lode, it says in the mother lode in Northern California. Allie urged Nellie to go on her land to look for more crystals and that she would purchase all that she could find. So Nellie and her grandchildren went looking for Andaras. Actually, the crystals had not been named at that time. After a lengthy search, they came home empty-handed. Allie was quite upset and insisted they return and look again. Then Nellie got angry and insisted that she knew her 1,200 acres of land and there was no more crystals like that, like the ones she had. After they both calmed down, Allie talked Nellie into going up one more time. But this time, Nellie was to look for a white powdery substance that was the monatomic Etherium stuff. She was supposed to be looking for this white powdery substance that Allie said was the dust of the unicorns rubbing their horns together in play.
Cool.
Nellie knew of this white powder. She had seen it many times before on her property, so when Nellie and the kids returned to the land, they went to where Nellie had seen the white powder. They moved the dirt clods around and cleaned them up. Those dirt clods turned into the most beautiful crystals they had ever seen. Their structure was glass-like in appearance, and they resembled volcanic obsidian. They ranged in many beautiful colors with various shades. Nellie and the kids gathered as many as they could, about 900 pounds, and drove home to call Allie. Allie was thrilled and delighted. Nellie told her that there was about 900 pounds and that that was all all that she could find. Allie smiled and said, "The people of this planet are ready for the gifts of these crystals, so the Earth will supply more very soon." And then about a month later, there was an earthquake that caused the side of the mountain to slide down, revealing several tons of precious crystals. Nellie contacted Allie and told her the wonderful news. Allie said, "Gather what you can. Someday the earth will take the crystals back to hold its seed." In the late 80s, another earthquake caused the mountain to come down and covered most of the crystals with tons of rock and dirt. For another 10 years, Nellie and the family gathered the crystals that were not buried. In the late 90s, the supply had been exhausted. Only a few small crystals could be found now and then. And in the early spring of 2001, two teenage boys who lived with their family in the adjacent property to Nellie's, that would be Mickey Magic, reported to her that while gathering firewood on her land, they had spotted some clusters of the crystals in obscure places. Nellie offered to pay the boys to gather everything they could find and drive them to her home, and they agreed. So now the resurgence of these rare and precious crystals are again available in the United States from Lady Nellie's family and Mickey Magic, and come with a certificate of authenticity. The only other place known on the planet to produce the Andara crystals is South Africa. Throughout the years, as requested by Nellie, the crystals have been distributed to the four corners of the earth. Native American spiritual teachers, leaders, healers, shamans, and the many people in need of healing now possess these amazing crystals. The Andara crystals are available in Santa Cruz, in various shops including Pottery Planet, Avalon Vision in Capitola, Gateway Books, Artworks, and through our large private collection. So I just gave everybody the link there. So if you wanted to kind of like go look at their collection or whatever. And I think Bonnie said she remembers the store that she got hers in was like one of them stores.
In Mount Shasta? Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like one of those stores, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember for sure what the name is. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, and then like this Mickey Magic guy, he has like a spiral. It's like a walking spiral on his land. And you can actually walk in there and be like with the spiral.
Is it natural? Is it natural, or did he make it?
They made the spiral, but it's with the thing. No, I remember from what Rick Talley had told me that Lady Nellie was adamant that you could not dig for these Andaras, that when the land pulls them back in, you have to wait till they get like resurface again. It was like an Indian prophecy thing, or
they're pretty rare then. They must be rare.
Yeah, and so what is there now is what's there, and the only other time, like you can't just, even though they know where they are, you can't just dig, like it's not allowed or something. I guess she has passed away since then.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you don't want to upset the forces.
No.
It's like taking old pirate treasure.
Yeah. So the what's
Goonies?
Yeah.
So so they're made out of, they look like glass, and so that's why there's probably like a lot of fakes out there, because they're very easily, you can actually imitate an Andara because it does look like a piece of glass. And so the only thing that makes them multidimensional isn't the glass part. It's the actual monatomic Etherium element that's inside of them. It's that white powdery stuff that she was going to look for in her land.
I don't know if you could see it, but mine's full of that powder. See it?
All right, we're gonna hold them up and do this. You ready?
Oh, I don't have mine with me.
That's okay. Well, I'll hold another one for you, Jess.
Table. I forgot it.
It's all right. So we're just gonna connect. And are we going to connect with Andaras?
If it's close by, Jessie, you could go get it.
No, she's
no.
Is it close by?
She's at work.
Wow, mine's just vibrating like crazy. Can you guys feel that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put mine up close so the people can connect with them.
Focus on the trees.
I'm being told that the next part of the project, the Andara project, will be shown to us very, very soon. That most of the Andaras are placed, although there are some that are still waiting to be placed. But most of them have been placed to the areas where they need to go to, and that the work that we will be doing going forward as different groups that hold an Andara in their hands, when you can be connecting with them, and then we will be shown something very new that we're going to be able to do with them, and it's going to be amazing.
I'm feeling like, because he asked me to focus on the tree source energies and stuff for healing, and I'm feeling it's like it's like just this expanding wave of energy coming from them.
It feels like the God breath, like the breath of God coming through the crystals right now, and it's they're being connected and it's sending it through. So just everyone, take a deep breath and just relax into the energies.
And I'm seeing like a white light from above being showered upon over where all of the crystals are throughout the world.
These are definitely connected to other planets. I'm seeing like a whole other, or maybe an inner Earth different reality. Maybe could be it.
It's like when I was at Tara, and then when I came home and I created my depiction of that scene at the well, but it was like it was in a different realm. It was in like a more high vibrational realm where the trees became animated, and also like everything was just more vibrant and more crystalline.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing some really interesting things, like pyramids with crystal tops, a red sun, and these like really cool purpley blue waters. Has some really cool energies, and I think this might be an inner Earth reality, not 100%. And I definitely see it going through dimensions.
I'm seeing like a bluey pyramid now, David.
I'm seeing like an old man, interestingly, but he's like an elf, but he's got that like long white beard with a cane and a crystal on top of it right now, and it's a very mystical area, like enchanted forest that he's in, which I think is in this reality, and he's connecting. I think that must be an Andara at the end of his staff. It's interesting. He's definitely elven.
And what is he doing with them?
It's interesting. He's sending out energy from it, so it's connecting to Andaras throughout the planet. I guess he's sending energies Let me see what he's focusing on. Let's try to tune into him. He's creating energies of joy, like he's using rainbow energies. He's creating energies of joy and laughter, like just these.
I'm seeing the flower of life
Following them through.
coming through.
Do you feel like what he's doing is positive?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's love energy. It's joy, love, happiness. It's the Christed energy.
Yeah. So they do have grids there where he's at. So he's sending it through his grids. It's very positive energies. They basically live in a joy, like a magical. It's totally different than an Earth reality. It's not even the. I think this is related to this journey that we're going to be going on in Agartha.
Mm-hmm.
This inner Earth.
He's setting the stage. He says he's setting the patterns up.
And then it goes from the inner Earth grids up into our grids, up into the Andara crystals. Very interesting. Okay. So
I'm hearing this very, very high pitched.
So it'll be very healing. Whoever's getting this is going to be very healing energies, even for sicknesses. Very high vibrational light and very happy energies. So this should make you feel really good. Like it should bring you joy and healing.
I have light language. Kuruchuturu yatrepe trepita moturubi shitare batarabetu chutrubi trebetutubi yatayata. Pututuru yatre shitre betutu chuturubi trebetutu, Bretita moturu yashatre, Tobotubi yatra, Petare and Tuturi mata. Ira moturubi yatre, but the Puturubi yatra moturubi ada. That was more like codes. Oh, very high energy.
Yeah, I think we should maybe stop.
Take a deep breath.
Maybe we should conclude this just because it is so much energy, but everything's being grounded right now.
Yeah. And then we just tell what came through as far as the reason why we were doing this show today to talk about the Andaras is because we were discussing, all four of us were discussing, we wanted to do something special for the winter solstice, and we weren't really sure what we were going to do. And then was it last week, about a week and a half ago, we all just kind of said, let's just think about what we want to do and just keep, if anything comes up. And then David got a message, and then I woke up and I was told, use the Andaras because we were trying to figure out where we were going to connect to, what we were going to do on that day and where we were going to connect. And I was told, use the Andaras to connect you during the time that you do your event in the winter, for the winter solstice. And then as soon as I messaged you guys and said, I'm being told we need to use our Andaras to connect somewhere. And then David, you got an instant tell about what happened when you all of a sudden.
It was just a vision. It just hit me, being in a crystal cave, and coming out into this magical kingdom, basically. And It could be in the same plane of inner Earth. It looked like two different scenes what I just saw today versus what I saw there, but it was still like this. And I asked like, what am I being shown here? And I heard Agartha, and then we started talking more about it, and we learned about this and not an ambassador. What's it? That Burd guy.
Oh, Admiral Burd. Yeah.
Admiral Burd.
Yeah.
So I bought his diary, and he talks about going. He was hired as a pilot during the Second World War. Admiral Burd. And Admiral Burd, Byrd.
Did he have a first name?
I think it's Jonathan, not 100%. But so I read his diary. It's pretty short and sweet. So this will be a short and sweet story. But essentially, he was commissioned to explore Antarctica, and he all of a sudden his like nautical equipment stopped working. But he saw this like yellow and like red pasture, which didn't make any sense because his Antarctica is like, this shouldn't be here. And so he goes to take a closer look, and these two UFOs intercept him, bring him into inner Earth. He wasn't frightened at all. And when he got off his ship, because they told him to come with him, they were white beings. They looked very much like what Pleiadians would look like. Tall, blonde hair, white hair, and like very pale looking, and very at peace looking. So they brought him in. They had all this different kind of ship technology and ships, and he talked to what he wrote down as their master, but it was probably like a master, someone who's mastered consciousness, kind of like Yeshua, but down on inner Earth, I'm guessing. And the master was talking to him about the Hiroshima and that you guys have discovered a weapon and you don't realize, or you've discovered a power, but you've weaponized it, and you cannot continue down this path. There's going to be a lot of changes and complete changes coming for you here. If you guys continue on this path, you're going to obliterate your kind completely. And he made sure to tell him that he's got to go see the president of the time there. I think it was Eisenhower, and then deliver this message. And I'm guessing there was further contact because he gave all the information to the president. They investigated him for, I don't know, it was like 26 hours straight, I think, and then they let him go. And he had this diary, and then he finally let out his diary in the public like years later because he couldn't hold on to the truth, this hidden secret, and he had to let people know, that you gotta go and be peaceful and be a peaceful nation. But he said that this reality, like this land, they went into like this valley and into this land, and it shouldn't exist there. It's on the cusp of Antarctica, and the beings that we see as Pleiadians are all there living in. They had a crystal city, like they had a crystal city that they flew into. So it's very interesting stuff.
I put in the comments because Jessie was telling us about Admiral John Burd was the man who flew over the no-fly zone, and you can find out more information on Ancient Aliens, 2019 episode number 10 called "Return to Antarctica." If you want to,
that's a good show. They have some theories. They always try to connect it. I personally think that these beings are in the Earth. Mm-hmm. I watched that episode again recently after our conversation. But that geological feature is there. It's physical. It's a hole. Mm-hmm. He was contracted by the government and an entire fleet with tons of equipment, tons of ships to go up there and explore Antarctica. And they left early. They came home quick. And he talked about it a lot at first, but they made him shut up, obviously. And there is a no-fly zone up there, and I'm not sure if Admiral Burd, he was the first one up there, but then there was a story on this episode about a guy who was like a researcher up there or something, and there's like some research stations up there, and there was a medical emergency, so he decided to fly over the no-fly zone to get the guy who needed treatment to where he had to go faster. And like, this is fairly recent, within the last 20 years or so, that he actually saw the geological feature, the hole in, it's like a big basin, and then there's a tunnel that just goes in, and he obviously got debriefed very quickly and sworn to secrecy and all this too. You know, yeah.
Pretty
he got
amazing.
in big trouble, and I think the guy died because he couldn't get there. You know, like I don't think the man survived. You know, the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like that's for real. That's not like an ethereal travel type thing. Like that's Earth feature. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and so next week we're going to do a whole show on Agartha, and we're going to tell a little bit, we're going to go in a little bit deeper about this topic, and just kind of like, because we wanted to talk about the Andaras today, so everybody knew when we're connecting with the Andaras, that's what we're using. We wanted to just really like give everybody a little bit more information about them, because they're not widely known. People don't really know much about them. And what they do know, they just hear about how there's a lot of fake ones out there, because there's people that are just trying to like make money off from it. So we just really wanted to come in and just tell a little bit what we knew about them and give some more information. And we're going to be hosting it's going to be a private event on the 21st of December. And we are really excited. We're going to be, it's the first time we've ever actually done something where we're going to have tickets and everything. So if you want to come talk a little bit about it, David?
I think there's a link below where they can click on it if they want to get tickets. But it will, it's obviously going to be special if there's Andaras, inner Earth, and we're already connecting to some mystical being in inner Earth, in another reality that's bringing in joy right off the bat. That's a pretty good sign. Good things are coming.
I just added the link on how you can get tickets for it. Well, we put up the little, I got a little trailer I created for it.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
Will we end it with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just put into the live chat, and then afterwards I'll go in and I'll put all those links into the official thing because we are doing
the permanent
yeah. And then but all the information is in this description of this video on YouTube. So if anybody goes into this video and looks at the description, the link for the tickets are also in there. And I'm just going to put up the little banner that I'm going to put up while we play the little video. And then will we just like leave after the video is over with? Or will we say goodbye now? And
yeah, it's a big goodbye now to everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you. And we can't wait to see you on our event. And it's going to be fun.
Are we going to meet again next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, and we're going to be doing it, and we're going to talk all about Agartha, and we're just going to go deep into that.
I'll have my Andaras then.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
Cool.
Okay.
And then on the 21st, we're combining them both and actually.
Yeah, 21st is when we actually do the event, and we're just going to. Okay. It's going to be fun. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to add this, and we'll see you next week, guys.
New Earth AC is proud to announce we will be hosting a special winter solstice private event called A Journey into Agartha. Bonnie Burd, David Starr, Jessie May, and Nicole are joining together on December 21st. We plan on harnessing the energy of the winter solstice by using our Andaras to connect to the inner Earth city of light called Agartha. With the help of the Agarthans, we intend to illuminate our light bodies and begin to activate and restore our DNA blueprints back to their original capacity, to bring us all into a more balanced new golden age of miracles, To book your spot in this astral travel adventure before the event starts on the 21st of December at 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT, click on the link provided in this video. We look forward to seeing you there.